These two robot vacuums may look completely identical, but there are some key differences that set them apart. My name is Jamie Andrews, and this is the Narwal Freo Z10 Ultra, which is largely based on the Freo Z Ultra I reviewed about a year ago. The Z10 is meant to be a lower-end model as it retails for $200 less than the Z. Oddly, the Z10 is mostly an upgrade over the Z, starting with a stronger vacuum motor rated at 18,000 pascals. It's also equipped with a 28% larger 6400 mAh battery, which should help it to clean more before needing to recharge. The next big upgrade is the addition of a swing-out mop pad. And that was one thing I felt should have been included with the Z to begin with, so I'm glad to see it here. Narwal put the new style jointed side brushes designed to direct hair tangles into the path of the roller on the Z10. These are not the ones found on the new Flow that can extend out into corners though. As it relates to the dock, there is some good news, which is Narwal does not appear to have changed a single thing with the docks. While those are some impressive upgrades, there are a few downgrades. The first is honestly no big deal, and that's the removal of the side duster on the robot. And before you ask, no, you can't just add one. The next omission is, well, I almost completely missed it at first. That's the lack of a dedicated ultrasonic carpet detection sensor, which means the Z10 must solely rely on its two forward-facing cameras to properly detect carpet. Finally, the Z10 has 8 newtons of rated downward pressure for the mop pads. That's 4 less than the 12 rated on the Freo Z Ultra. Alright, let's move on to test these changes, and in the end, I'll tell you if they make it worth buying the new Z10 over the older Z. For an in-depth look at the platform, including dock test, I'll link my review of the Freo Z Ultra above and below in the description. Alright, let's get started testing the potential increase of suction power. On carpet, I scattered 54 grams of colored rice on medium pile carpet and set the vacuum to vortex suction mode as the highest mode that you can set it to. Last year's Z was able to pick up an impressive 53 grams or 98%, and the Z10 was able to match that score. On tile floor, I scattered 130 grams of cat litter, and in one pass last year's Z was only able to pick up 115 grams or 88%. I always test multiple times and I go with the best score. The new Z10 only picked up 1% better at 116 grams or 89%, which actually ties the new Narwal Flow. Next up is the mopping test, where I bake on exactly 4 milliliters of hot sauce on my tile floor and send the Z10 out for 2 passes to clean up as much as possible. The good news is it was able to clear all of the hot sauce. However, likely due to less downward pressure, it was not able to clear it quite as fast as the Z did. Still, it's a good performance. I was excited to test the new swing-out mop, especially since the mop pads aren't round, and I was curious to see if they would impact furniture or ride up on my quarter-round side moldings on my floor. And for the floor moldings, the answer is no. This is the only swing-out mop except for Rubber Rocks that has properly handled my floor quarter-round moldings by not riding up on them. I also did not notice them impacting furniture. If anything, I would say the programming is a bit too cautious and can stay far away from some things. I was able to see an increased runtime with the larger battery in the Z10. In a 23-minute, 170 square foot vacuum and mop test, the Z10 finished with 91% battery left versus 88% on the older Z, so you should expect slightly better runtime with the Z10. As it relates to the new style side brushes, I can't really tell this new design is an improvement over the old style, and that's just because the old style, well, I didn't have any issues with hair getting wrapped around them. Narwal removed the dedicated carpet detection sensor on the Z10, likely to save just a few bucks on cost, but that decision negatively impacts its ability to detect carpets and even navigate on mixed floor surfaces. I noted the overall navigation was not as smooth as it was on the Z, and the ability to properly detect and handle carpets was also what I would consider a downgrade. Narwal sent out a firmware update which improved its ability to handle carpeted rooms. However, it still struggles to properly identify and handle rugs. I am sure Narwal will get this resolved, as I recently discovered the Flow also lacks a dedicated carpet sensor, and for the most part it's totally fine. So it turns out the most impactful upgrade is the swing out side mop, followed by a larger battery. If you have all hardwood or hard floors and value edge mopping, the Z10 could be the better pick for you. In the meantime, for people with carpets and rugs, I'd stick with last year's Z model, especially if you can get it at a better price. If your budget allows, I suggest taking a look at my review of the Narwal Flow, which I will link in the description along with the links to purchase all of these models, and clicking them goes a long way to support my efforts to bring you these honest reviews. Hey, did you find this video helped you decide on your next robot vacuum? If so, consider subscribing to my channel for more great tech reviews. Thanks for watching and take care everyone. Bye-bye.